What's good, YouTube? Welcome to episode 6 on Artist Vlog. This is just another vlog. Me just updating what I've been up to, this week and everything pertaining to myself as an artist and what's been transpiring. Which is, to be honest, this week not that much in terms of art being produced. I've made a couple things, but generally the work I've been doing has been digital mainly, and I've just been sort of like working on things that I've already been there, updating my work, and yeah, nothing really in terms of making something new, which is always for me. That's how I like sort of not that I measure my level of productivity, but that's when I feel the most productive as an artist. Is when I'm making something new. I guess that's when you're seeing most of the work, all of the fine tuning of the piece after the sort of like templates there, the details and the corrections on things. That more so feels like a chore at times. And that sounds crazy, because I enjoy the whole process, but in terms of me making the piece and me quote unquote perfecting it, maybe that's something to do with it. The quest for perfection is tiring. It's like a labor, right? To reach perfection, you have to go through labors, trials, and I think that's what it feels like when I'm really trying to make the piece quote unquote perfect. It feels a bit like there's not the same level of enjoyment when you're there making the piece, and I suppose that's something one should that's something I'm gonna think about, because I never really thought about it like that. But that being non-productive just generally is something I try to avoid. Do you know what I mean? It's like natural. I have to be productive in some way. I have to do something. And most of the time it's just going to my art. You feel me? I might write a little bit. But as the artist, I feel like being non-productive, it's almost like, not that there's someone behind me, like pressuring me and that, you know what I mean? I'm not possessed or nothing, but it's like, I just feel, a lot of times I feel like, I could be doing this. Maybe that's not a good outlook maybe, but I mean it in terms of the same way if I was perfecting a piece, if I'm working on this, like right now, I would rather make something new than work on this. But I'm gonna work on this because I feel like this is more what I would consider work now. Do you feel me? And also if you get into a groove, if I get into a vibe, then yeah, but generally I look at this as more of a labor to perfect this and finish this. And I suppose it gets to a point where I might start forcing it. But the small differences between this, now that I picked up and start talking about it, since last time is I took the Hit Me Out, giving him a bit more, fleshed him out a little bit more, changed that a bit more. One thing I did have was down here, like the punching bag was clashing with the clouds. So the clouds you could see the clouds behind the punching bag, but I decided to add the blue down there to really sort of to make it more clear, instantly clear that this is in the air like it is, and you can kind of tell. But I feel like maybe because it was clashing a bit down there, it would be a lot harder, but it would take maybe a moment or two later to realize that this is suspended in the air. And then obviously you've got the tail going down, which again, I was thinking about making it red at some point because it doesn't really go like really well with the blue. You feel me? Like it blends in nicely, but it don't pop out, which is what I kind of wanted at first. But let me. Yeah, that's what I actually wanted to do. But this color, I do like it, but it's just like maybe I can darken down here a bit and have this come out a bit more. I'm thinking, because right up here it's lighter, definitely turn down and darker, but I can make it even darker. And maybe then I'll make things pop out the way it's like a bit more, something worth considering, do you know what I mean? Yeah, definitely something worth considering. That's actually maybe the most vital point. But I'm gonna have to then lighten this up a bit and maybe lighten up the whole snake, which is fine. And I still have all the like flowers and that to sort of balance it out. Definitely something I'm gonna look into, man. And I feel that's another thing. I feel like when I'm working, perfecting it, it's almost like I'm thinking more now. Right, I don't know if I'm in the camera. I'm thinking more. Like when I'm making something, I'm just flowing. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just making whatever looks cool in that, right? But when I'm there working on something, trying to perfect something, it's there's a thought process behind that. I need to pay attention, start analyzing the piece, and that's what I do when I'm doing the working on it. After a certain point, it becomes more of like analyzing and correcting. Do you understand? As opposed to creating, it's perfecting that which is created, and that requires a bit more. It doesn't have that spark that the creation process did. So that's why maybe I feel it's more difficult. That's probably the best way I've ever put it. Yeah, working on a piece or trying to perfect something doesn't have the same spark as it does creating that thing. And that's why I love the creation process so much, that spark. It's just, you can make this into anything. Anything could be happening on this canvas, you understand? So I like that. But obviously, there gets a point where obviously this is where the love aspect comes in. Do you know what I mean? The love aspect comes in. Because at this point then it's going to be, at that point it's, alright, like maybe sometimes you don't even want to work on it, right? Do you know what I mean? Don't even want to work on it, but I choose to because I love it. Or I put some love, time and attention and patience into a piece. Those are all things of love. Do you know what I mean? I think so anyway, I don't know, obviously you might have a different opinion. Yeah, so other than this, everything, all the other work this week's been digital, which is, it's cool. I've been productive digitally, and I feel like I'm just going more and more into the digital. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just easier, man. It's just easier. Everything's at your disposal. The preparation time is shorter than me preparing my paints and that. You know what I mean? But and sketching, which is what I really do enjoy the most. I haven't done that in a while actually. Maybe like a couple of weeks ago, and even then before that, it was probably like a month. So I need to do that. Flex a little bit, you know. But I mean, I guess essentially I'm kind of sketching on the digital. You know, I feel like I am. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff to do, as always, as I always do, as we all do. Do you know what I mean? And one shouldn't procrastinate. No, one shouldn't procrastinate. I was thinking like what procrastination comes from and that, right? No, I mean I wasn't thinking. Someone mentioned it, so it's prompted me to start thinking. And they were saying that it's like a failure to perform. I thought about it. I'm like, I can see why they would say that. Still, would I agree that? I guess to a degree, yeah, definitely. But I could definitely say for me, it would be more so I just have a certain thing in my head, an idea in my head, and a lot of the times reality barely ever is what you want it to be, right? But I'm more on the stubborn side where even though what's in my head and it's not really convenient in reality, and sometimes I'm gonna be like, nah, I want this the way I want it. Do you understand? And sometimes that makes me delay things and procrastinate, quote unquote procrastinate. Or maybe I am procrastinating, I'm just trying to justify it, but I definitely feel like things will have a right time. And well, yeah, I mean, procrastinating is doing the things you know you should do. So I guess that wouldn't really matter. Yeah, the procrastination thing though, that's like, That's sort of like a hurdle thing, but obviously you have to make you have to do what you gotta do and move that shit to the side, you understand? Like, you say you never be ready till you're ready, you know what I mean? You need to do your thing and then eventually, dog, you know what I mean? How can you fly if you don't leap? Basically, innit? Like when you ain't got no choice but to fly, you gotta fly, dog. That's what I believe in it. But I'm not advocating you to stop throwing your children off cliffs and that, hoping that they can do something. That I don't know, innit? I'm not advocating that. Nor would I expect anybody to do that. And I wouldn't expect myself to have to say that, but you never know people these days, you know what I'm saying? You just never know. Right, so I spoke about this, I spoke about my digital work. My website is up and coming, by the way. Do you feel me? I don't really like to say things until they're done, but I feel like because this is my art, it's my YouTube channel, that's one of the things I've been working on. I probably said it already, innit? I've been working on my website, so that's something a bit different. And you know, I'm not that mad well versed to the point where I can code and that, but if you give me something like Wix or Squarespace, I can fix myself a website. And that's what I've been doing at the moment. And just sort of rehauling things as I always am. And I know people are probably sick and tired of me hearing that, but it's always constantly a reconfiguring process, you know, build and destroy until finally that which you are happy. I'm happy with, I can say, yes, I can leave this now and let this do the work. And it's slowly getting there, you feel me? I don't know how many more phases of death and rebirth my whole thing will have to go through till it reaches the point where I need it and I want it to be. But, you know, it will happen, you know what I mean, at some point, absolutely, 100%. But as always, I always say, to me, it's the craft that's important, man. You know, the sort of like the commercialization of work and, you know, the big stuff is nice, like being able to exhibit and put your work up in places and, you understand, people gravitating to your work, all that stuff is nice, but dog, nothing's more beautiful to the craft than me just sitting down and put the pencil to the sketchbook and just, you feel me? To me, dog, nothing beats that. Like, that is hella therapeutic, and that's what got me into my art again, you understand, to the point where I'm like, you know what, I wanted to take me to X, Y, and Z, and I can start really doing this and make some moves with my art. Before that, it was just me drawing in my sketchbook because I found it therapeutic after a long, hard day of working in that which shall not be named, you feel me? The gram way, you feel me, where they serve you that hot shit. I should probably swear, I should probably keep it clean, but I swear. On a note, interesting note, I had a friend borrow me a book called Everything is Sex, and it's nice because most time I'm the one borrowing people books, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always sort of borrowing people books. As one should, if one has a large collection of books, I believe it is your responsibility to impart such a resource to, acquaintances. I'm not saying just give your books to strangers, like, I wouldn't do that, but acquaintances, and even more so a friend, absolutely. If a friend asks to borrow a book, I'm most likely gonna let you borrow it, right? If I read it, or if I'm not currently reading it, you ask to read it, I'm like, yeah, you can borrow it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm always borrowing books, so it's nice. Like, it's a nice change of pace to have a book borrowed onto me. But she was like, yo, I'm gonna need this back ASAP. So I've got actually some reading to do. And what I'm actually gonna do, because it's not my book, is, I could just go by my own, right? Do you feel me? But what I actually think I'm gonna do to really engage myself is I never take notes when I read, which is probably a bad thing, and I don't. When I read my books, I don't highlight and stuff, you feel me? I just absorb the information, take in the information, but at what efficiency am I guess would be the question, you feel me? I don't know, but I believe over you, it's there, the information's there, just that. Your access to it is definitely dampened by the fact that you only read that piece of information one time. If you read it 1,000 times, that recall is going to be a lot better to recall that information, and that's all it is. Because once you absorb the information is there. Do you understand? It is there. Trust me, you've absorbed it, but you can't get access to that until it's just a small piece of information. Think about it. A small piece of information in your mind with all this other information that's much more important. But the more you keep emphasizing things to yourself, right, the more important it becomes to yourself and your mind. You know what I mean? If you keep every say, I need to do X, Y, Z, I need to do X, Y, Z. I mean, it's gonna be on your mind. And on my days, I'll give you the perfect example, darling. Listen, yesterday I was pumping up my airbed, yeah. And I was pumping for so long that after me and my friend were chilling and we're watching something, and she's on a wheelie chair, and I've put my foot on the wheelie chair, and I guess it's like muscle memory kicking in. I started like, it was like our wheel was finna start trying to pump it, and we just started laughing, like, and I was like, dog, you see, I'm tapped. But that's what it does. If you keep doing something, and after a while, like, you know what I mean, it's like almost outside your control. You can't help but think about that thing or do that thing. So I guess that's why they say, like, you know, not perfection. They say success is a habit, something like that, right? Don't quote me on that, but it's like those things that you aspire for, I guess, like success and these things, it's based off habit. I'm sure we all know that, you know what I mean? I'm gonna agree with you on that. So, yeah. So I'm gonna do that. Definitely check this book out. I might do a little review on it, you know, and see what I'm saying. And that's another thing I want to do. I definitely want to start implementing some book reviews, and even start bringing people there to discuss not just the art, but the books and that as well. But that's what this shit's really about, you know. It's not just about the artwork and that. Like, BKE Studio is really here for that, to dig into art and philosophy. You feel me? Those are my passions, man. Literature. Like, I like a good story, but I definitely say that was mostly in my youth. Now I like reading material that pertains mostly to history, because I feel that that is the most important facet of life that man has been denied for the most part. Do you know what I mean? The history I've been exposed to is for me inadequate enough, so therefore man goes on his own endeavours to find such information. It's the only way really you can truly, I feel, be free and be able to think for oneself, is to endeavour on your own volition without having to be prompted or persuaded or any other form of, do you know what I mean? That kind of them kind of actions to make an individual want to learn. Once they want to learn to better themselves and their circumstances, in the sense of removing ignorance from themselves. You know, the further you are from ignorance, the happier you are. I feel like the happier you can be, because ignorance is suffering. Now we're going deep and philosophical, and I don't even feel like that's even necessarily the truth. Well, I just said it. I said ignorance is suffering. Crazy. I don't know how much validity there is to that. I'm sure I've heard that somewhere. That sounds like sort of like Hindu sort of paraphrase. You know, the whole concept of Maya and illusion, and suffering comes from your appetite for desire, and do you understand? As opposed to having none of that stuff and meditating and then purging yourself of these desires and your palate for the worldly things. That's what you're saying. Them kind of texts, them kind of thought processes, them ideologies, these concepts, they're very important to me, and they play a big part of my work. And I need to start setting timers. I don't know how long I've been talking to the camera for. I believe it's been at least 10 minutes, and anything over 10 minutes is not even pushing it, but that's fine. Anything over 10 minutes is fine. Within 10 minutes, even within like 8, 7, you know, I'm still learning how to do things, so forgive me if things aren't as professional as, you know, some other people got sick, but you give me, we're all in the building stages and that, you see me? And yeah, so, you know, like and subscribe is the vibe if you're feeling the guy. I might have to be the flow still, that's out of the vibe. Yeah, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe is the vibe if you're feeling the guy. If not, then share it to someone who doesn't, someone who likes art, someone who feels, do Do you know what I mean? They can watch my stuff and just feel like, yeah, like, inspires me to do X, Y, Z. Because I got people that I watch that inspire me to do what I do. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's important. Especially in the day and age where you got exposure to everything, right? So there's no reason, you got exposure to everything and it's all in your control, so there's no reason you should be being bombarded or getting into things that don't inspire you, don't motivate you. If you're seeing things on this that makes you feel anxious or you feel me, breathe them negative things, if it ain't doing that, you get rid of it, man. You know what I mean? That's always the vibe, man. I'm not, do you know what I mean? Like, that's not in a sort of like, oh yeah, you should just get away from me. But like, it's on a, like, yeah, things aren't just there. Things aren't just there. They have to do something. Do you know what I mean? And if it ain't doing something here, that all that means is that maybe it's not meant to be here. Do you know what I mean? It might be fully productive somewhere else, but here, if it's not working, then, you know what I mean, keep it moving. I'm not even necessarily talking about people here. I feel like I'm just talking about, yeah, like, ideas and, you know, things that people implement. Like, if something's not working for you, if it works for someone else and it's not working for you, it's obviously, it's the thing, it's not you. You're fine. Like, you work a certain type of way, it's just that thing ain't for you. Now I'm really waffling, so I'm definitely going to end it here before I say something stupid. You know what I mean? Alright, peace and power, YouTube. Like and subscribe. That's the vibe if you're feeling the guy. You know, check out my Instagram. My website will be up soon, so I have a little gallery up to check work. You know, all of that nice stuff, YouTube. Anyway, catch you on the other side. Thanks for watching.